a sandwich feels like the safest choice. Bread, meat, maybe some lettuce. But behind those glass counters and fluorescent lights, inspectors have found rodent droppings, slimy deli meat, and bacteria that can hospitalize seniors within days. Today, we are exposing 9 sandwich brands you need to avoid, and the 2 that actually deserve your trust. Coming in at number 9, we have Subway. Subway was once the undisputed king of sandwiches. $5 footlongs. Eat fresh. That was the promise. For decades, Americans trusted Subway to deliver quick, affordable, and supposedly healthy meals. They positioned themselves as the better alternative to greasy burgers and fried chicken. Subway told us their bread was baked fresh daily, their vegetables were crisp, and their meats were premium quality. Millions of seniors made Subway part of their weekly routine, believing they were making a smart, heart-healthy choice. But the reality behind those sliding glass sneeze guards tells a very different story. Let us start with the bread. In 2020, an Irish court ruled that Subway bread contains so much sugar it legally cannot be classified as bread. Think about that for a moment. The foundation of every Subway sandwich, the very thing they promised was freshly baked and wholesome, is closer to cake than actual bread. For seniors managing blood sugar levels or diabetes, this is not just misleading, it is dangerous. You walk in thinking you are avoiding the sugar bomb of fast food, and you walk out having consumed a hidden sugar trap disguised as a healthy meal. Then there is the meat. Subway's tuna scandal made national headlines when lab tests could not definitively identify the tuna DNA in their tuna salad. Customers who ordered what they believed was real fish may have been eating something else entirely. The lawsuit alleged that Subway's tuna was a mixture of various concoctions that do not constitute tuna. Subway denied the claims, but the damage to consumer trust was done. When a lab cannot verify what is supposed to be in your sandwich, something has gone seriously wrong. Health inspections across multiple states have revealed troubling patterns at Subway locations. Inspectors have documented employees failing to wash hands after handling raw meat. They have found cold cuts stored at improper temperatures, sitting in what inspectors call the danger zone, between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria multiply rapidly. For seniors with compromised immune systems, consuming meat stored improperly can trigger serious foodborne illness. We are talking about symptoms that go beyond an upset stomach. For older adults, especially those on heart medications or blood thinners, a severe bacterial infection can lead to hospitalization or worse. Multiple Subway franchises have been cited for visible mold on bread, slimy vegetables, and expired ingredients still being served to customers. One inspection report from a Florida location noted a strong foul odor emanating from the walk-in cooler, where inspectors found deli meats with a gray, slimy film. The texture was described as tacky to the touch. The meats were still being used for sandwiches that day. Subway promises freshness. What inspectors found was decay. The betrayal is not just about taste. It is about the health consequences seniors face when they trust a brand that has repeatedly failed to deliver on its most basic promise of safe, fresh food. And here is something most people never consider. Subway's sodium levels are staggering. A single 6-inch Italian BMT contains over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. That is nearly half the daily recommended limit in one small sandwich. For seniors managing high blood pressure or taking medications for heart conditions, that sodium load can cause fluid retention, spike blood pressure, and strain an already vulnerable cardiovascular system. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, and ideally under 1,500 for those with hypertension. The sandwich that was supposed to be the healthy choice may actually be working against your health every single time you eat it. At number 8, we have Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's built its reputation on speed. Freaky fast delivery. Sandwiches made in seconds, delivered to your door before you can blink. The marketing is clever. The sandwiches look fresh. The bread smells like it just came out of the oven. But speed without safety is a recipe for disaster, and Jimmy John's has left a trail of outbreaks that should make every senior think twice before ordering. Between 2008 and 2020, Jimmy John's was linked to multiple E. coli and salmonella outbreaks traced back to contaminated sprouts and produce. The Centers for Disease Control documented several clusters of illness directly connected to eating at Jimmy John's locations. In one outbreak alone, dozens of people across multiple states fell ill, some requiring hospitalization. The pattern was unmistakable. The same chain, the same contamination issues, appearing again and again over more than a decade. E. coli is not a minor inconvenience. For seniors, it can be life-threatening. The bacteria attacks the digestive system, causing severe cramping, bloody diarrhea, and in serious cases, kidney failure. Seniors with pre-existing kidney conditions or those on medications that affect kidney function are at especially high risk. What seems like a quick lunch can turn into weeks of medical treatment, thousands of dollars in medical bills, and lasting damage to vital organs. Despite the repeated outbreaks, Jimmy John's continued serving Sprouts at many locations. The Sprouts were the primary culprit in several contamination events, yet the company was slow to remove them from the menu. It took federal pressure and public outcry before meaningful changes were made. That delay speaks volumes about priorities. Speed over safety, profits over people. When a company knows that an ingredient is causing illness and continues serving it anyway, what does that tell you about their commitment to your well-being? Health inspections at various Jimmy John's franchises have revealed additional concerns. Inspectors have noted improper hand-washing practices, employees touching ready-to-eat foods with bare hands, and cold storage units failing to maintain safe temperatures. One inspection documented condensation dripping from ceiling pipes directly onto food preparation surfaces. The moisture can carry bacteria, mold spores, and other contaminants directly into the area where your sandwich is being assembled. Another inspection found employees using the same cutting boards for raw vegetables and ready-to-eat meats without proper sanitization between uses. Cross-contamination is one of the leading causes of foodborne illness, and these inspection reports suggest it is happening regularly at some Jimmy John's locations. The promise was speed and freshness. The reality is a pattern of contamination, illness, and inspection failures that put customers at risk. For seniors who cannot afford a serious bout of food poisoning, Jimmy John's freaky fast reputation comes with freaky real dangers. Most people have no idea which brands actually pass safety inspections. We will reveal the only two worth trusting at the very end of this video. Stick around. Now at number 7, it is Quiznos. Quiznos once challenged Subway for sandwich supremacy. Their toasted subs were marketed as the premium alternative, better ingredients, bolder flavors, the warmth of a freshly toasted sandwich with cheese bubbling and meat steaming. For a while it worked. Quiznos expanded rapidly, promising a higher quality dining experience than the cold-cut competition. They were different. They were special, or so we were told. But expansion without quality control is a dangerous combination. As Quiznos grew, complaints about food quality and restaurant cleanliness began piling up. Health inspection reports from various states documented disturbing findings. Inspectors found grease buildup so thick on kitchen equipment it had turned black and sticky. They documented food debris caked onto surfaces that should have been sanitized daily. One report described a walk-in cooler with a pungent sour smell that hit inspectors the moment the door opened. Inside, they found containers of sliced meat with visible discoloration and a slimy texture that made it clear the product had long since passed its prime. The toasting process that made Quiznos famous may have also masked problems. Heating a sandwich can kill some surface bacteria, but it does not eliminate toxins already produced by bacterial growth. If deli meat has been sitting at improper temperatures for hours, toasting it does not make it safe. The bacteria may be dead, but the poison they produced remains. You might not taste the difference, but your body will certainly feel it later. Stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting. These are the body's way of rejecting what should never have been consumed. Multiple Quiznos franchises have been cited for storing raw ingredients above ready-to-eat foods, allowing potential drippings and cross-contamination. Inspectors found expired products still in rotation, used as if the dates printed on packaging meant nothing. One location was documented serving sandwiches with cheese that had developed mold spots. The moldy portions were simply cut away, and the rest was served to customers as if trimming around contamination makes food safe. It does not. For seniors, consuming mold or mold-adjacent food can trigger allergic reactions, respiratory issues, and digestive distress. Those with compromised immune systems face even greater risks. Certain mold strains produce mycotoxins that can cause serious health complications, including liver damage and neurological effects. Quiznos has been in financial decline for years. Many franchise owners have struggled to stay profitable, and when money is tight, corners get cut. Equipment does not get replaced. Staff training suffers. Food safety becomes an afterthought. The customer bears the consequence of those financial pressures with their health. The toasted promise of premium quality has crumbled. What remains are fading locations with fading standards, serving sandwiches that may look appetizing, but hide risks that seniors simply cannot afford to take. Number 6 is Firehouse Subs. Firehouse Subs positions itself as the hearty American alternative. Big sandwiches, bold flavors, a firefighter theme that evokes trust, safety, and community service. The branding is warm and welcoming. The portions are generous. Red fire trucks on the walls, firefighter memorabilia everywhere. It feels like a place you can trust. For seniors looking for a filling meal, Firehouse seems like a solid choice. But behind the friendly red decor, there are serious concerns that deserve attention. Firehouse Subs sandwiches are loaded with sodium. A medium hook and ladder sub contains over 2,000 milligrams of sodium. That is nearly the entire daily recommended limit in a single sandwich. For seniors managing hypertension, heart disease, or kidney conditions, that sodium intake is not just excessive, it is potentially dangerous. Think about it. One meal, and you have already consumed what should be spread across an entire day's worth of eating. High sodium consumption causes the body to retain water, increasing blood volume and forcing the heart to work harder. Over time, this contributes to elevated blood pressure, heart strain, and increased risk of stroke. For seniors already taking blood pressure medications, a single high-sodium meal can interfere with medication effectiveness, causing unpredictable spikes that put cardiovascular health at risk. Your doctor carefully calibrates your medication dosage, and one sandwich can throw the entire balance off. Beyond the sodium issue, health inspections at various Firehouse locations have revealed inconsistent cleanliness standards. Inspectors have documented grease accumulation on cooking equipment, food particles left on prep surfaces between uses, and employees failing to change gloves after handling different types of food. One inspection noted that the same tongs were used for raw and cooked meats without any sanitization. That single violation alone can spread harmful bacteria from raw meat directly onto the food you are about to eat. The steaming process Firehouse uses to heat their meats and melt cheese can create a false sense of freshness. Steam makes everything look hot and ready, the cheese glistening, the meat appearing juicy and fresh. But if the underlying ingredients have been mishandled, the visual appeal masks potential contamination. Inspectors at one location found steamer trays that had not been properly cleaned in days, with dried food residue baked onto surfaces where fresh sandwiches were being prepared. Firehouse Subs promises a hearty meal with heart, but the sodium levels and inconsistent safety standards suggest that the real cost of that meal may be paid by your heart later. What is the worst experience you have ever had at a sandwich shop? Drop it in the comments below. Coming up at number 5. Which tried to innovate the sandwich ordering experience. Customers mark their choices on paper bags with red markers, creating a customized order that feels personal and fun. The concept is clever. The marketing emphasizes choice and quality. For seniors who appreciate control over what goes into their food, which seems like an appealing option. Finally, a place where you can have it exactly your way. But clever ordering systems do not guarantee safe food. Health inspections across multiple which locations have documented concerning patterns. Inspectors found cold holding units failing to maintain proper temperatures, leaving deli meats and cheeses sitting in conditions where bacteria can thrive. The FDA requires cold foods to be held at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. When those temperatures creep up, pathogens like Listeria and Staphylococcus aureus begin multiplying rapidly. One report documented an employee sneezing near the prep line and continuing to make sandwiches without washing hands or changing gloves. Respiratory droplets landed directly in the area where customer sandwiches were being assembled. Noted that bins were not being replenished properly, with fresh ingredients dumped on top of older product rather than rotating stock correctly. This first and last out approach means ingredients at the bottom of bins can sit for extended periods, aging and potentially spoiling while fresher product sits untouched on top. The lettuce at the bottom might be 3 days old. The tomatoes could be turning soft and developing bacteria. You would never know. Consumer reviews have increasingly mentioned concerns about freshness. Customers report vegetables that look wilted, bread that tastes stale, and meats that have an off smell. These are sensory warning signs that something is wrong. And for seniors, trusting those instincts is important. If something looks, smells, or tastes wrong, it probably is. Which has also faced criticism for inconsistent portion sizes and quality between locations. What you get at one franchise may be completely different from another. This inconsistency suggests a lack of corporate oversight and standardized training, which directly impacts food safety. For seniors with health conditions that make them more vulnerable to foodborne illness, the gamble of inconsistent quality is not worth taking. The fun ordering experience means nothing if the food itself cannot be trusted. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposes. At number 4, Potbelly Sandwich Shop. Potbelly built its brand on warmth and nostalgia. The toasty sandwiches, the live music in some locations, the cozy neighborhood feel with vintage decor and comfortable seating. It feels like the kind of place where quality matters, where someone in the back actually cares about what they are making. The marketing creates an emotional connection, making customers feel like they are getting something homemade and wholesome, like a sandwich your grandmother might have made. But inspectors tell a different story. Health inspection reports from Potbelly locations across the country have documented repeated violations. Inspectors found employees handling food without proper hand washing, using the same gloves for multiple tasks without changing them, and failing to monitor temperatures in cold storage units. One report documented a prep area where the same cutting board was used for raw vegetables and sliced meats throughout an entire shift without sanitization. 8 hours of cross-contamination potential, with every sandwich carrying traces of whatever came before it. These are not isolated incidents. Multiple locations have been flagged for similar issues, suggesting systemic problems with training and enforcement of safety protocols. When the same violations appear repeatedly across different franchises in different cities, it points to corporate culture that does not prioritize food safety adequately. The failures are not random. They reflect how the company operates. Consumer complaints have echoed these concerns. Customers report finding hair in sandwiches, receiving cold food that should have been hot, and noticing a general decline in cleanliness at some locations. One review described watching an employee wipe down a counter with a dirty rag that had clearly been used multiple times already, then immediately begin assembling a sandwich without washing hands. The same cloth that wiped up spills and old food debris was inches away from fresh ingredients. For seniors, these lapses are not just unpleasant, they are dangerous. Cross-contamination between raw and ready-to-eat foods is a leading cause of foodborne illness outbreaks. Improper hand washing spreads bacteria from surfaces and skin directly onto the food you eat. A single contaminated sandwich can cause symptoms ranging from mild stomach upset to severe illness, requiring medical intervention. For older adults with weakened immune systems, what might be a minor stomach bug for a younger person can become a medical emergency. Potbelly promises warmth and comfort. What inspectors found suggests that the cozy atmosphere may be hiding uncomfortable truths about how your food is actually being handled. Number 3 is Penn Station East Coast Subs. Penn Station markets itself as authentic East Coast flavor. Fresh-cut fries, grilled sandwiches made to order, the sizzle of meat on the grill, the aroma of melting cheese filling the restaurant, the visual theater of your food being prepared right in front of you. It feels like real food being made by real people. For seniors who grew up with neighborhood delis and local sandwich shops, Penn Station evokes memories of quality and craftsmanship from a time when things were made properly. But the reality in some locations falls far short of that promise. Health inspections at various Penn Station franchises have revealed serious concerns about meat handling and cooking temperatures. Inspectors documented instances where grilled meats were not reaching safe internal temperatures, leaving customers at risk of consuming undercooked food. The USDA recommends cooking beef and pork to an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit and poultry to 165. When those temperatures are not reached, dangerous bacteria survive. For seniors, undercooked meat is particularly dangerous. Bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria can survive in meat that has not been heated thoroughly, and older adults are far more likely to experience severe complications from these infections. What might give a younger person an unpleasant few days can put a senior in the hospital for weeks. Reports have also documented improper storage of raw meats, with packages leaking onto other ingredients in walk-in coolers. The red liquid pooling beneath raw beef packages contains bacteria that can spread to anything below. Cross-contamination from raw meat juices onto vegetables or bread can spread dangerous bacteria throughout a sandwich, even if the meat itself is eventually cooked properly. The lettuce and tomato on your sandwich may have been contaminated before they ever reached your plate. Multiple locations have been cited for poor sanitation practices. Inspectors found grease traps overflowing onto the floor, creating slip hazards and breeding grounds for bacteria. Floors were sticky with debris that had accumulated over multiple days. Food preparation surfaces had not been properly cleaned, with dried food particles visible in corners and edges. One report described a grill area where burnt food particles had accumulated to the point where fresh meat was being cooked directly on top of charred residue from previous days. That carbonized buildup can harbor bacteria and carcinogens. The open grill concept that makes Penn Station appealing also requires rigorous cleaning and temperature monitoring. When those standards slip, the theatrical presentation of cooking in front of customers becomes a performance that hides the risks being served on every plate. Penn Station promises the taste of the East Coast. What some customers may actually be tasting are the consequences of inconsistent safety practices. Here is the truth most people never hear. There are sandwich options that actually prioritize safety and quality. We will name them at the end. Do not miss it. At number 2, Charlie's Philly Steaks. Charlie's brings the Philadelphia cheesesteak experience to food courts and shopping centers across America. The sizzling griddle, the melting cheese stretching as the sandwich is assembled, the aroma of grilled onions and peppers wafting through the mall. It is designed to be irresistible, drawing in hungry shoppers with sensory appeal that few can resist. For seniors looking for a hot, satisfying meal during a shopping trip, Charlie's seems like a convenient choice. But convenience does not equal safety. Hot holding units failing to maintain proper temperatures, allowing cooked meats to sit in the danger zone where bacteria multiply rapidly. Food must be held at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or above to prevent bacterial growth. When equipment fails or staff neglect to monitor temperatures, that protection disappears. One report documented a situation where grilled steak had been sitting on the flat top for extended periods, cooling to unsafe temperatures while still being served to customers. The meat looked hot because it was on the grill, but it had dropped below safe holding temperatures. The greasy nature of cheesesteak preparation requires constant attention to cleaning and maintenance. Inspectors have found griddle surfaces caked with old grease, creating not just sanitation concerns but also fire hazards. Food debris left on cooking surfaces can harbor bacteria and contaminate freshly cooked items. The same grease that sizzled yesterday's cheesesteaks is now cooking today's, and all the bacteria and breakdown products come along with it. Multiple citations have been issued for employees failing to wash hands after handling raw meat before touching ready-to-eat items. The fast pace of food court service often means shortcuts are taken. When lines are long and customers are impatient, proper hand hygiene can be sacrificed for speed. The employee who just touched raw steak is now grabbing the bun for your sandwich. The bacteria on their hands transfer directly to your food. According to the CDC, approximately 48 million Americans get sick from foodborne illnesses each year. That is roughly 1 in 6 people. Seniors account for a disproportionate number of hospitalizations and deaths from these infections. The immune system weakens with age, making older adults more susceptible to severe complications from bacteria that younger people might fight off without medical intervention. Adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from salmonella and are at significantly higher risk of death from foodborne illnesses. For seniors with cardiovascular concerns, the high fat and sodium content of cheesesteaks is already a consideration. Adding the risk of bacterial contamination from improper handling makes Charlie's a choice that carries more danger than the delicious aroma suggests. Ever noticed how these big chains keep having violations but stay packed with customers? Makes you wonder who is really looking out for your health. And at number 1, the worst offender, Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's has become one of the fastest-growing sandwich chains in America. Fresh sliced meats, bread baked in-store, and the famous Mike's Way with onions, lettuce, tomatoes, oil, vinegar, and spices. The marketing emphasizes authenticity and quality. Celebrities endorse it. Customers rave about the flavor. For seniors seeking a sandwich that tastes like it came from a real deli, Jersey Mike's seems like the obvious choice. They charge premium prices and promise premium quality in return. But popularity does not guarantee safety. Despite its premium reputation, Jersey Mike's has faced serious health inspection issues at multiple locations. Inspectors have documented findings that would shock customers who trust the brand. At one location, inspectors found rodent droppings near food storage areas. The dark pellets were scattered in corners and behind equipment, evidence of an active infestation. Rodent contamination is among the most serious health code violations because rodents carry diseases that can be transmitted to humans through contaminated food or surfaces. Their droppings, urine, and hair can spread salmonella, E. coli, and other dangerous pathogens. Cross-contamination concerns have been noted at various franchises. Inspectors observed employees slicing meats and then handling other ingredients without changing gloves or washing hands. The slicers themselves, which are the heart of Jersey Mike's fresh-cut promise, have been cited for improper cleaning, with dried meat residue building up on blades and surfaces. That residue is a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Every slice through old buildup transfers contamination to fresh meat. One particularly disturbing report documented a cooler where raw ingredients were stored above ready-to-eat items, allowing potential drippings to contaminate sandwich components. This is one of the most basic food safety rules, and it was being violated that customers trusted. The same report noted that temperature logs had not been properly maintained, making it impossible to verify whether cold storage had remained at safe levels. If no one is checking the temperatures, how can anyone know the food is safe? According to FDA data, deli meats are among the highest risk foods for listeria contamination. Listeria is especially dangerous for seniors, pregnant women, and anyone with a weakened immune system. The bacteria thrives at refrigerator temperatures where other pathogens are dormant. Symptoms can develop days or even weeks after consuming contaminated food, making it difficult to trace back to the source. By the time you feel sick, you may not even remember the sandwich you ate. For seniors, Listeria infections can cause severe illness, hospitalization, and in serious cases, death. The CDC estimates that Listeria causes approximately 1,600 illnesses and 260 deaths in the United States each year, with seniors being disproportionately affected. More than half of those deaths occur in adults over 65. Jersey Mike's promises sub sandwiches the way they should be: fresh, authentic, quality. But inspection reports suggest that the reality at some locations falls dangerously short of that promise. The betrayal is especially painful because customers pay premium prices expecting premium standards. When you spend more, you expect more. What you may actually be getting is risk disguised as quality. When you trust a brand with your health, and that brand fails to maintain basic safety protocols, the consequences extend far beyond a ruined meal. For seniors, those consequences can be severe and lasting. The first safe option: Panera Bread. After everything we have covered, you might wonder if any sandwich option is actually safe. The good news is that some brands take food safety seriously, and Panera Bread has consistently demonstrated that commitment. Panera has invested heavily in ingredient transparency. Their menu clearly displays calorie counts, sodium levels, and allergen information. For seniors managing specific health conditions, this transparency allows for informed choices. You can see exactly what you are eating before you order. No hidden sugar traps, no mystery ingredients, just clear information that empowers you to make decisions that align with your health needs. Health inspections at Panera locations across the country have shown consistently strong results. Proper temperature monitoring, regular sanitization of food preparation areas, and employee training programs that emphasize hand washing and cross-contamination prevention. These are the fundamentals that protect customers, and Panera has demonstrated reliability in executing them. Panera has also committed to removing artificial preservatives, sweeteners, and flavors from their food. While no restaurant is perfect, Panera's corporate commitment to clean ingredients reduces the hidden risks that plague other chains. When you order a sandwich at Panera, you have a reasonable expectation that what is advertised is what you are getting. For seniors concerned about sodium, Panera offers options that are lower in salt than typical sandwich chain fare. Their soups and salads provide alternatives when you want something lighter. The ability to customize orders and access detailed nutritional information empowers customers to make choices that align with their health needs. The second safe option: Pret A Manger. Pret A Manger operates differently than most American sandwich chains, and those differences translate into meaningful safety advantages for customers. Pret prepares food fresh in each store daily. Items that do not sell by the end of the day are donated rather than held over for tomorrow's customers. This commitment to freshness means you are not eating ingredients that have been sitting in storage for extended periods. The risk of consuming food that is past its prime is dramatically reduced. When closing time comes, unsold sandwiches go to local charities rather than back into the display case. Health inspections at Pret locations have consistently shown strong compliance with safety standards. Proper cold storage, regular cleaning protocols, and employee training on food handling are standard practice. The company's European roots mean they operate under stricter international food safety frameworks, and those standards carry over to their American locations. Pret's ingredient lists are straightforward. You can see what goes into each item without decoding a list of chemical additives and preservatives. For seniors managing health conditions, this clarity is invaluable. You know what you are putting into your body. The grab-and-go model means less handling of your specific sandwich. Items are prepared, packaged, and refrigerated, reducing the number of hands that touch your food between preparation and consumption. Less handling means fewer opportunities for contamination. In a landscape of inconsistent quality and hidden dangers, Pret A Manger stands out as a brand that prioritizes what customers actually care about: safe, fresh, honest food. Not all sandwiches are created equal. Some can put your health at serious risk, and now you know which ones to avoid. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.